Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose Alcaton, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 19 years, and I published my dissertation directly towards the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who are suffering with PMDD. So although I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is an approximately 1 in 20 women, makes you want to break up with your partner every single month right before your period, I also provide services and counseling services and programs specifically designed for partners for what they are going through with being in a relationship with someone who struggles with PMDD. There are so many aspects that affect PMDD relationships, whether it's PMDD rage, whether it's intrusive thoughts, whether it's just you not getting your needs met in your PMDD relationship and feeling like breaking up is your only option. I am here every single week to give you my signature trauma transformational tools that are going to help you and your PMDD partner to get through all of the stress that is going on in your PMDD relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with, then you need to join the PMDD Power Couples Group Counseling Membership. This is when we meet every single week. We go over what is specifically going on in your PMDD relationship, and you'll get a chance to get my customized PMDD counseling transformational tools. And then also, if you need a private session for you and your partner, you can go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those PMDD relationship reset sessions. This is where I have private sessions with you every single week, every single month. We're checking in, we're mapping out your PMDD relationship. So let's get into today's episode. So today is part 1 of my series, How to Stop Letting PMDD Steal Your Identity. And today I'm going to be focusing on the PMDD partners. Part 2 is going to be on the individuals that suffer with PMDD. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've gotten so many emails, so many DMs that are just like, Dr. Rose, as a partner, can you please customize and speak to me? So this is what this episode is for. But I think it's so impactful for the individuals that are suffering with PMDD to really hone in on these episodes that are geared towards a partner so that you can really understand the journey and the dynamic of being a partner. I know for me, if I hadn't been in the realms of getting my doctorate at the time that I was in this PMDD relationship and really being able to examine and investigate and, just see the pain that my PMDD partner at the time was going through and really try to find solutions and tools. If I wasn't able to tap into that in that moment, it would have made it really hard for me to understand what a partner goes through, right? Which is why I switched my dissertation to directly correlate with PMDD partners. So for those of you that are new to the podcast, that are new to my journey, I want you to know that my dissertation, which is behind me, if you're on In Love with PMDD TV, which is on YouTube, you're able to see it right behind me. But my literal dissertation was switched to strategically get tools for and investigate and interview tools for partners of individuals who are suffering with PMDD. And the things that were in there, the things that I discovered were something that had I not gone on that journey and been really intentional about it, I would have never known. I would have never known what my partner was going through based off of what I was seeing on the outside. What your partner shows you on the outside is very different from what they're going through internally. And what I deal with my private clients is what is going on with them behind the scenes. So what I first want to let you know, I have allergies, apology, is your partner goes through a lot more than they show you that they go through, because there is this facade of like, I'm not the one that's struggling with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So my needs and my desires and my feelings and my emotions and my thoughts and my triggers, all of that is less important than what you're going through, because you're the one that's suffering in your luteal phase every single month. But what I tell you in my dissertation, if you haven't read it, it's free. You can go look it up. I'll actually put the link for it in the show notes so that you can read it. I know all of my private clients who are partners have read it, but it really is showing you that when you as the partner are going through the luteal phase, you do experience symptoms. You do have heightened anxiety. you do this thing called walking on eggshells, which is so common, which is why I created my program. My partner has PMDD now, how to stop walking on eggshells in your PMDD relationship. Because when I was interviewing so many different individuals for my dissertation to get my doctorate on my thesis, I heard the same phrase again and again and again. I'm walking on eggshells. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, Dr. Rose. Like I'm walking on eggshells. I was like, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why you feel like your needs are not being met. And then you feel like you're kind of scared of the reaction of your partner during the luteal phase because of the things that you've seen, because of the things that you experienced. But today I would really want to talk about how PMDD can steal your identity. And I have witnessed this so much in different partners. And that's how I know it's a common thing. It's not just with my ex, it's with multiple partners that I have, that when they first find out that you have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, right? A lot of times they already love you. They're already connected to you. This is not something that a lot of individuals find out early on. It's not like you go on a date and it's like, hi, I'm Rose. I have PMDD, right? That's not genuinely how it happens, and not intentionally, but it's just like a lot of times individuals find out that they have PMDD after they're already in a committed relationship. And then you try to navigate it after the fact. And the version of you as the partner before you were in a relationship with someone that suffers with PMDD will change as you go through this process if you do not have the strategic tools. And even if you have the tools, I will say that a part of you will change, but you have the ability, you have the power to decide how PMDD changes you. I will say that PMDD, being connected to anyone that has premenstrual dysphoric disorder, it will change you because it will challenge you to deal with all of the things. Like PMDD rips the blanket off of all of your issues, and it causes you to look internally because you'll start to ask yourself, like, my partner's saying that I'm the one that's causing her to have PMDD every month. I'm the one that's causing her symptoms to be worse. So you start to look at yourself like, is there something about me that's wrong, making me be this person that my partner is blaming me to be? Or she's constantly saying that I'm not meeting her needs. And she's saying all these things in the luteal phase. And you'll start to really reflect on that and start to say, wow, I really am starting to wonder, is this really me? Is there really something that's wrong with me that's causing my partner to say these nasty things to me, that say these things that are not nice, to say these things about me that, maybe it's your worst fear. I've had individuals that their PMDD sufferer, their partner, who is suffering with PMDD, has said something to them that is a deep insecurity. Like if you feel like maybe someone has called you selfish in the past, or maybe someone has called you a narcissist in the past, or maybe someone has said that you're not lovable in the past, or like you don't matter, or you're so annoying, or you're too much, or your needs are too much, like you're too much to handle. Like if someone has said something like that to you before, you have a past traumatic event, and then you get into a relationship with somebody who has premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and they literally mirror that to you, and they literally say to you, oh my gosh, you're too much. You're going to start to believe that negative comment because it's been repeated to you, because you've said it before in the past. You're going to start to be like, oh my gosh, someone said this to me in the past, and now the person that's supposed to be the closest person to me, that's supposed to be the most intimate, they're now mirroring and saying it to me as well. It must be true. And you're literally thinking, because it's been repeated to you, and because it's been repeated to you on a cyclical manner, meaning every single month they're saying the same things. Every single month they're saying you're too needy. Every single month they're saying you're too clingy. Every single month they're saying that you're causing them to have PMDD, and that you're stressing them out, and that you're so overwhelming, and that their PMDD would be so much better if they could just be alone, or they could be with someone who is more supportive. So you go on this cycle of really looking at yourself internally and saying, oh my gosh, is there something wrong with me? And so when you're in a relationship with someone who has PMDD, you question yourself, you doubt yourself, and it causes you to get into this realm of chaos and confusion because you don't know what your partner really thinks about you. Because during the luteal phase, you're an irritation. You are a burden. You are someone that they have to handle, that they have to deal with. You are someone that is triggering to them, that is triggering to their PMDD symptoms. They don't want to be around you. They don't want you to touch them. They don't want you to be around them. They don't want you to go on a walk with them. They kind of want you to just stay and sit in a corner and just wait until the luteal phase is over. And so you sit there. But what happens is when you distance yourself from your partner in the luteal phase, you start to really doubt yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, does my partner even love me? Do they even like me? Do they care about me? Do they even want to be with me? And you're sitting in that corner, you're being alone with your thoughts, and you're kind of in this realm of self-loathing because you're beating yourself up for ways that you could have handled certain situations better. Because in your mind, if I could just be the person that they need me to be, then maybe when they were in their luteal phase, they would want to be around me. They would want me to support them. They would appreciate the things that I was doing for them, and they wouldn't push me away. Instead, they would pull me in and embrace me and feel connected to me and feel like I was part of the process that helped them to go through their PMDD. I know so many partners, what you really want, your deep desire is for you to be a person, for you to be a tool that really helps them to get through PMDD. And a lot of times you're trying, in the ways that you're trying, you feel like you're always getting it wrong because the feedback that you're getting is that it's not specifically what your partner needs. And you'll start to guess. You're like, I think that they need this, so I'm going to do this. And I think that they need that, and I'm going to do it. What happens is when you are in the luteal phase, the both of you are in the luteal phase, your partner will swiftly tell you or react to the things that you're doing. So you'll know off the bat if you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong. And if you're doing it wrong, there's this negative reaction. They either shut down on you, they either tell you that they need space from you, they either tell you that you're too much, or they'll lash out at you. And they'll be so frustrated because you're not being a supportive PMDD partner in the way that they specifically need. But then a lot of times they're in their luteal phase and they're going through all of their PMDD symptoms. So they're not able to articulate and communicate exactly how they need you to be, but they just know that whatever you're doing is not working. So you're sitting there beating yourself up. And this is not something that you go and you talk to somebody else with. You don't talk to your buddies about this. You don't talk to your friends about it. You don't talk to your family about it because you don't want them to judge your partner. You don't want to repeat the things that the individual that is suffering with PMDD, your partner, you don't want your friends and family to hear that version of the person that you're choosing to spend your life with, do your life with, because they may tell you something that you genuinely don't want to hear. They may say, you shouldn't be with somebody who talks to you like that, or you shouldn't be with somebody who treats you like that just puts you in a corner for 2 weeks out of the month. You don't want to hear that. That's your deepest, darkest fear in the back of your mind, that this is not the relationship that you're supposed to be in. And you're just sitting there and you're taking less than what you deserve, and you're feeling weak. You're feeling like a weaker version of yourself. You have all of these accolades. I have so many clients that have so many accolades, CEOs, CFOs, been in their career for years, entrepreneurs, creative individuals, musicians. It doesn't matter. PMDD doesn't pick and choose what career that you have. It doesn't care. No matter what career you have, where you've been in your life. I have clients that have been in relationships for 20 years. I have clients that have been in the relationship for 2 months. PMDD doesn't care about who you are as an individual. It will attack every open space that it can. And so when you as a partner are sitting there, you're like, I should be better than this, right? I should be able to handle this. I should love my partner enough. And maybe if I do this and maybe if I do that, then they'll see how much that I love them. And then when they get in the luteal phase, it'll be better. And then it's month after month that you're dealing with this, and you end up in this cycle of fighting. You end up in the cycle of being pushed away. You end up in the cycle of not getting your needs met. You end up in the cycle of questioning, should I believe what my partner is saying when they're in their luteal phase? Or fast forward to when they get into their follicular phase. And then all of a sudden, the cloud has been lifted of their symptoms. They're saying all these amazing things about you. They're making you feel good. And so in the beginning, I will say that a lot of you lean into that. You're like, oh my gosh, they're back. And you're feeling good and you're feeling safe and you're feeling secure. And then bam, it's the luteal phase all over again. And then it's like the rug has been ripped from under your feet and you fall flat on your face. And then you almost feel a little bit stupid. I will say that because it's been a direct quote from my clients. Like, you feel stupid. You're like, why did I fall for that? Why did I think that that was going to last? But you're so convinced that what your partner is saying in their follicular phase, or even their ovulation phase, or maybe menstruation, when they start to, get a relief from their symptoms, they're saying all these things and you're feeling like, this is who I fell in love with. This is who they really are. Who they are in PMDD is not who they really are. And you start to depend on that. And then you get in the luteal phase and you find yourself back in the cycle again and realize they didn't really mean that. This is what they mean. Because when an individual is in PMDD, and I know this because I've suffered with PMDD for over 19 years, it's very convincing. how I used to show up in PMDD was very convincing. I felt like I meant every harmful thing that I ever said to a partner. And if you questioned it, if you almost said, I know a lot of times partners, they think that, and I'm going to give you kind of a behind the scenes on this of what I work with my clients with. You think that by telling the partner that is in PMDD, by telling them that they're in PMDD, you don't really mean this. This is just your hormones talking. You're in PMDD. Number one, having premenstrual dysphoric disorder is not a hormone problem. You don't have a problem where you go to the doctor. If I go to the doctor right now, my doctor would tell me, my gynecologist told me that my hormones were amazing. My estrogen, my progesterone, all of the things were completely balanced. You don't have a hormonal imbalance. So when you're saying to your partner, oh, it's just the hormones talking, they're going to be like, no, it's not. It's not my hormones talking. My hormones are fine. Like if they've started to do like the work and be like, I'm going to go to somebody and get my hormones balanced. Your hormones are already balanced for a lot of you. It's not a hormonal imbalance, right? It is a situation where the normal fluctuations of hormones during the luteal phase, the ovulation phase, the menstruation phase, the follicular phase, you are having an adverse reaction that is happening to the normal fluctuation of hormones that you go through as a childbearing woman. That's it. Nothing needs to be worked on. I will say that you may go to the doctor and they say that your hormones, you can check that. That's not going to take away your PMDD. You can balance your hormones all you want. You're still going to have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So a lot of times when I hear that, I'm a little bit like, wait a minute, like, because I feel like wherever you're putting your energy, I want it to be in the place that's actually going to help your relationship. So if you're doing it for a health reason, if you're like, for the individuals that are suffering with PMDD, and for the partner that are trying to advise on what they need to do, I want you to know that if your partner has a hormonal imbalance, that is a complete separate issue from them having premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Can they balance their hormones and they have physical symptoms be better? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you're having hot flashes, you're having things, you're going through perimenopause, you're going through menopause, all these things, and you want to get your hormones balanced. Absolutely, you can do that. PMDD is still going to be waiting there with you. It doesn't take it away. So I don't want you to go down the rabbit hole of feeling like the issues in my specific relationship are going to get better if my partner's hormones are balanced. Your hormones can be balanced and you still have issues in your PMDD relationship. I'm going to repeat that. And I always repeat the things that are really kind of like, I want you to really sink it in. Like if I was a teacher, I would be stomping my foot right now and saying like, you can have issues in your PMDD relationships, even though your hormones are balanced. So getting your hormones back in order, your estrogen, your progesterone, and all those things, you can get that completely balanced, and your issues within your relationships are still going to be sitting there waiting on you. This is for a lot of clients that have gone through the process of getting the ovarectomy and all these other things. They're going through that process to get rid of the symptoms that are really impacting their PMDD relationship without understanding that the issues that are happening in your PMDD relationship, they're cognitive. PMDD attacks your brain. This is what I always tell you. PMDD tricks your brain. Your brain is the entity that is impacting your PMDD relationship, not necessarily your hormones. You're experiencing your hormones as emotions, but how it is attacking your brain is making you have the intrusive thoughts. It is causing you to have stress and raise your cortisol levels. It's causing you to be irritable. It is causing you to be distant. It is causing your attachment styles to be different. Those are cognitive things. And this is what I work with my private clients. Having things in your body work a certain way is not going to impact your mindset, your cognitive intake of the behavior and actions that you're having. The thoughts that you're having are the things that are causing you to have an issue with your PMDD relationship. And this is for the partner that has PMDD and the partner that doesn't. And so going back to the partner, what I want to say is when you start to lose your identity, it is such a painful process, specifically for someone who has a type A alpha male or female mentality. because you're used to having things in order. You're used to programming things. I remember an ex used to tell me, your PMDD is supposed to be on the 20th of the month. I wrote it down on my calendar. It's the 20th of the month. You must be in PMDD. Well, it fluctuates throughout my menstrual cycle. And so for that month, it wasn't on the 20th. I think it came on like the 25th. They could not wrap their head around it. They accuse me of lying and saying, no, you're in PMDD right now. And I'm like, this is not something that you can literally put on your calendar and put on your schedule and say every single month is going to be the same. The body does what the body does. And when the body fluctuates, we are riding the PMDD wave. So if you are a type A personality and you feel like you want to plan the events that you have with your partner, you want to plan outings, you want to plan holidays, you want to plan social events, you want to plan time with your family all around PMDD, and then you're finding it really, really hard, it's because PMDD can fluctuate. If you have different things going on this month than last month, then maybe your PMDD will be a couple of days late. Maybe it'll be a couple of days early. And if you're so rigid and inflexible as a partner, you're going to think it's suspicious. I will say that I've had partners that think suspicious, and I've had other partners that have been just completely frustrated because they're like, I finally thought that the way that I could cope with this was putting it on my schedule, wrapping my life around it. But now I'm seeing that even doing that is not working. So you get a little bit hopeless and you get a little bit helpless. So I'm going to talk to you about losing your identity. Really, and what this comes down to is not recognizing the person that you are becoming in your PMDD relationship. Not recognizing who you are becoming as a result of being in a relationship with someone that has PMDD. PMDD will completely take you out of character. And what happens is when premenstrual dysphoric disorder takes you out of character, it's a destruction of your self-worth. It is a destruction of your self-respect because you maybe pride yourself on being a positive person. You may do all of these other things that are super positive, that are super motivating, that are super inspiring. Maybe you're in your career, you get all these accolades, you get all of these other people telling you that you're great, that you're amazing, that you're living in your purpose and you're doing all the things. And then you come home and your partner tells you you're a piece of crap and you're annoying and you need to go sit in a corner pretty much. And you're triggering me and nothing that you can do can help. And all I just want you to do is do nothing. All I want you to do is give me space during PMDD. And then all of a sudden your ego gets really resentful. You will start to resent your partner for making you come out of character and feel like a different version of yourself from being in this relationship. I've had so many people that get so many compliments and accolades when they go to work and they come home and they feel like a piece of crap. They feel like a failure in the place that they feel like they should be praised and admired and adored and cherished and loved the most is the place that they feel the worst. So what happens is for a lot of times partners will work longer because who wants to be in an environment where you feel like you're a burden, who feels like you're a piece of crap, who you can't even enjoy the great things in life or the good moments because you come home on a high off of what happened in your day to someone that is rolling their eyes at you, not addressing you, not looking you in the eye, not showing you any affection, not meeting your needs, not excited to see you, versus everyone at work is like, you're so amazing, you're so great, good job on that. And then you tell your partner that's in their luteal phase what you're going through. Like, you're like, hey, this just happened at work. And they're like, oh, that's great. Unamused, unaffected. Because maybe they're in that realm of suffering with their PMDD symptoms, and you just feel like your balloon has been popped. You are completely deflated. You are completely hopeless. You are completely helpless because there's nothing that you can do to pull your partner out of the realm of suffering that they are in PMDD that is causing them to act like this towards you. There's nothing that you can do to bring your partner back when they're in their luteal phase. And that is so frustrating because you're able to do all these things in your career and come up with all these innovative things and help all these things. And when it comes to your own partner, the person that you love and care about the most, the person that you're devoted to, the person that you're not even planning on leaving at any point in your life, and you can't even get to them. You can't crack the code on how do I reach my partner when they're in their luteal phase. The question that you're really asking is, how do I make them love me again? You're literally trying to crack the code on making your partner love you again the way that they do in their follicular phase. You're trying to get them to not have PMDD. Honestly, you're trying to get the follicular phase, maybe even the ovulation, maybe the menstruation, because the ovulation and menstruation, they're having symptoms, but it's not geared up. It's like directly negative towards you. They're feeling a little discomfort, but they're still in the realm of taking your help. So there's still things that you can do. You can work with that. But when it comes to the luteal phase, there's like this barrier and this wall, and you're like, why doesn't my partner like me? Why doesn't my partner love me? Why don't they care about me? Why aren't they trying to be next to me? Why don't they want to meet my needs? Why aren't they happy for me? Why aren't they happy, period? What happened to that version of my partner that was light and bubbly and happy and smiling and cute and cuddly and affectionate and made me fall in love with them enough to say, I want to be in this relationship. I want to be in this relationship forever. Maybe you've been in this relationship for years. And you're like, this is what keeps me here. Because when they get into their follicular phase, it's amazing. It's like nothing I've ever felt. I know this is my person. But why is it that when I go into the luteal phase, I don't feel like their person? I feel like I'm tolerated. And so when you lose your identity, walking on eggshells becomes your norm. Every single month, you get the carpet ripped up from underneath you and you start to walk on eggshells. You can kind of see that your partner is in PMDD from like when you first talk to them in the morning, even maybe even when you go to bed at night. Like maybe they're a person that likes to cuddle, or you get in the bed and you get in the bed a certain way, and then all of a sudden they're turning their back towards you. It's super cold, it's super distant, it's super unconnected. And then you're like, oh, here we go. Or you're joking and laughing, you're at ease, you make a comment, and they automatically think it's malicious. And they're like, what do you mean by that? Why would you say that? Why would you joke about that? That's not funny. And then all of a sudden they're taking something that they would have normally laughed at and joked about in their follicular phase, and you guys would have joked about it together, and they're taking it as a personal attack. And so now you're feeling like the bad guy. You're literally feeling like the bad guy because you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm this person. Now they're thinking this about me. Your character is completely diminished because they're thinking that you're capable of doing something. And you're really thinking to yourself, they know me. Why would they even think that I would choose to say or do something that would cause them to be triggered, like, or that would cause them to be mad or irritable? So you avoid sharing your own feelings. Maybe if you're a person that loves to tell jokes or loves to laugh or loves to like even tap your partner, like maybe you're a physical touch kind of person and you love to just go around and slap them on the butt or hold them or come up behind them while they're washing the dishes and hold them. And then all of a sudden they jerk back and they reject you. Rejection with physical touch is one of the most painful things in an intimate relationship with PMDD. When your partner starts to reject you, you don't expect it a lot of times. Like you're leaning in and being loving, which is one of the tools that I use with my private clients. You're leaning in and being loving just for a partner to jerk at you, to be like, what is it? And then so you go to tell them, I just wanted, a hug, or I just wanted this. Like now you're trying to verbally express what you needed physically, which really honestly kills the vibe. If you wanted a physical interaction, that's what you wanted. When you have to explain why you want to hug from your partner, when you have to explain why you want to kiss from your partner, when you have to explain why you want to hold their hand, when you have to explain why you want to hold them at night, it diminishes your self-respect. You feel like you're practically begging for your needs to be met. You're begging for physical affection. And what I always tell my private clients is this is the only place that your partner can get physical affection. They're not supposed to be cheating on you. They're not supposed to be going anywhere else and being starved of physical affection by you. So now they're super vigilant when they're out and about. There's so many accusations of infidelity and accusations of cheating and lying and manipulative and what are you doing this? But yet you're comfortable as individuals who are suffering with PMDD with letting your partner leave the house starved of physical affection, physical attention, physical adoration, not even telling them that they're attractive, not even telling them the things that you love about them on an emotional basis. And then they go out into the world and there's a world full of people. I travel a lot and I can go through airports. I can go through conferences I speak at. I can go through raves. I go through all of these things, these social things, and people are always complimenting me. And I really thought to myself, if I was with someone that just genuinely starved me of physical and emotional affection with compliments. Like they don't give me words of affirmation. They don't tell me that they love me and they don't touch me. That would be a dangerous place to be because you're literally filled with a world of 8 billion people that are willing to tell you how amazing you are and show you that they think that you're amazing. Like give you a hug, give you a high five, give you that physical affection. And what happens when you're starved of it? You start to lean into the individuals that are giving you that attention. You're like, now you're morally, this is what I mean by it messes with your identity. You're not a person that would cheat. You're not a person that would lie. You're not a person that your character could be flawed in that way. But because you're so starved of physical affection, because you're so starved of attention, because your partner is thinking that you're a burden, where are you supposed to go? What are you supposed to do with your needs? Just stuff them in a corner and pretend like you don't have them? Turn off your emotions for 2 weeks out of the month? I've had partners that go through some of the most traumatic events in life, things with work, things with family drama and all this, and they don't have a partner that they can lean on. You don't have a partner that you can lean on. But then again, there's a world full of people that if you told your situation to, they would have all the empathy, all of the affection, all of the attention ready for you. But you're fighting it. You're fighting that level of your identity. You're like, I don't want to become that version. I don't want to become a liar. I don't want to become a cheater. So you're having this identity crisis because you're like, well, I'm staying in this relationship, but honestly, I'm not happy. Honestly, I'm not getting my needs met for 2 weeks out of the month. And it's starting to pour into the follicular phase because when your partner starts to tell you, all the things that they love about you in the follicular phase, you can't tell what's real anymore. You can't tell if the things that they are saying in their luteal phase are what they really feel about you, or the things that they're saying in their follicular phase of what they really feel about you. 1 week or 2 weeks, you're told that you're loved and adored and cherished and you're amazing. And the next week you're being pushed away and saying that you're annoying, saying that you're clingy, saying that you're needy, or being blamed for doing some things and saying that your actions are malicious, even actions that you try to do to genuinely help them. They start to twist them around as if you're being malicious. And so you really start to say to yourself, what version of us is real? This is when we get into the realm of chaos and confusion. I was on my PMDD partner's morning routine the other night, and I was part of it is writing in my journal and reading my Bible. And one of the things that I was really journaling about is that, it's very clear God is not a God of chaos and confusion. And I was literally in the realm of like, that is exactly what relationships have felt like in my luteal phase and as a relationship as a whole. And that's when I've known that I've needed to do something differently in my relationships. I will say that has been a sign for me. So if you're in that place, whether you're the partner or the partner that's suffering with PMDD, and you're like, we have chaos and confusion every single month. It is chaos. I'm confused about what state we're in, what's real, what's not real, how my partner really feels about me, whether I should even be in this relationship. Are we compatible? Is this just stress? Like that's confusion. And then chaos is every single day. Is different. I remember waking up, not even knowing what the day was going to be like. I had to literally think and look at my text messages. Like, are we talking? Are we not talking? Are we good or are we not good? Because in no day, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel secure. I felt like everything was a roller coaster every single day out of the month, whether I was in my luteal phase, because even it got to a point when I was in my follicular phase and I'm like, even things started to switch in my follicular phase where these are supposed to be my quote unquote good days. So chaos and confusion is a sign that you need to get help and get to the root of what is really going on in your PMDD relationship. So if that's something that you know that you need help with, go to inlovewithpmdd.com. I'll put the link in the show notes and get those counseling sessions. What we do is we really get to the depth. We get to the root of what is going on that is causing that chaos and confusion, because that is a clear sign that nothing is going to change. Years and years and years filled with months and months and months of chaos and confusion. Nothing genuinely changed until I started using the tools and really digging deep and figuring out what the heck is really going on. So that's the next thing that happens when you feel like your identity is being stolen. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who you are. You don't know what version of you. I've had, clients where the partner has called them a narcissist. The partner has called them manipulative. The partner has called them a liar. And at some point, when you're getting told all of these negative things, you start to believe it. You're like, Maybe I am a narcissist. Maybe I am this negative person. Maybe I'm just not saying, because you get so tired of defending yourself that you start to believe the lies. PMDD tells lies to the individual that is in their luteal phase that are suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. But if that is being projected on you, spit out on you again and again and again, and the same, because a lot of times, whatever your partner is saying, it's the same thing again and again. Repetition, really cognitively, it gets into your brain and it messes with your belief system. It messes with your identity. If you can mess with someone's identity, you can cause them to act so out of character because they start to identify with the negative version that you are saying that they are. They will start to identify with the negative version that you say that they are, so much that by the time you look at them again, they are that person. Words have power. This is what I told you about in a couple episodes. Words have power. So if you consistently speaking negative about your partner, if you're saying that they're a narcissist, if you're saying that they're manipulative, if you're saying that they're selfish, they will become that if they choose to believe that as their identity. When someone is like, whoop, I guess I'm a selfish person. I guess I'm a cheater. This is how you get into the realm of infidelity. Your partner has accused you of cheating so much, it's gotten so regular off of their tongue. They're just like, you're a cheater, you're a cheater, you're a cheater. Then when they cheat, the partner that accused them of it is so shocked. Like, I can't believe that. I can't believe they did that. How can you not believe they did that when you're speaking that onto them? You speak life with your words onto your partner. You speak what you seek. Don't be surprised if your partner becomes the very thing that you're accusing them that they are, because they're listening to that. They're taking that in and they're forming their identity based off the words that are spoken, because you all are connected, because they love you, because they're connected to you, because they trust you. They're going to question the former version of themselves and start to believe, if this is the person that's supposed to love and care about me the most, and they're saying these things about me, it must be true. And what happens is, when you accept the belief of those negative things that are said to you, you're going to start to act accordingly. When you start to act within the realms of being that narcissist, when you start to act within the realms of being that manipulative, if you start to act in the realms of being that cheater, then it's very hard to go back, because your identity has now been reformed into that negative version of yourself. And then PMDD has won. PMDD would love for you to become a different version of yourself that is unrecognizable. When you become that version of yourself, you're taking away your identity of who you were before. PMDD will literally rob you of who you were when you initially came into this relationship, if you let it. This is why I always say PMDD tricks your brain, but if you're not aware that it is tricking your brain, you'll believe it because it's so convincing. It's like, oh no, it's based off of something that they actually said. It's based off of something that they actually have done. And so it must be true. It must be true. So you start to question your own worth, because if you're believing all of the negative things that your partner is saying about you, you don't deserve to have love, to have affection. So if your partner is in PMDD rage and they're saying all of these nasty things about you, these horrible things about you, which when you're in premenstrual dysphoric disorder, when you're in your luteal phase, you can say some of the nastiest things to your partner, some of the most vile things to your partner, and literally believe them in the moment. So you start to question it. You start to say to yourself, maybe I am a bad partner. Maybe I did deserve this. Maybe there's something that I did in this relationship where maybe my partner deserves better. So when you have that chronic conflict, it can distort your self-image. You'll start to look at yourself and be like, maybe I'm not a good person. Like, yeah, the rest of the world is saying that I'm this. They're saying I'm great. They're saying I'm this, but you don't believe it anymore. You don't believe it because the person that you love the most is speaking negativity into you, and you're starting to believe it, and you're starting to feel horrible about yourself. It's going to impact your performance at work. I've had so many individuals lose their jobs because of the way that their partner was speaking to them in their luteal phase and PMDD. So many, because all of that confidence that you had, all of that confidence, not just in yourself, but in your abilities, it's gone. If the person that is supposed to be supporting you and loving you the most, and you're going to work stressed out, you're arguing with them, you're texting with them in between meetings, and you're fighting, you don't know what you're coming home to. You're literally opening the door and walking into your house and literally feel like you're walking on eggshells. Like, hey, hey, I would say for me, one of the ways that PMDD really messed with my identity, was making me feel like I was an introvert, right? Because all of the stress and the drama that was going on in my relationship, I went completely internal and I became a completely different version of myself. I have had clients that they have completely shut down. They stop talking to friends. They stop going out because everything seems like it's a problem. Everything's a problem. And you want to take the path of least resistance. It's like, I don't feel like I want to go out with my friends if I know that it's going to cause an argument with us. Like, it's not worth it for me. And so when you start to neglect your needs, little by little, you stop doing the things that bring you joy. Guess what? You're replacing joy with chaos and confusion. You're doing a trade-off. So you stop expressing your needs. You need support. You need love. You need affection. You need attention. But let me tell you something. If you've ever been called clingy, if you've ever been called needy, if you've ever been called like you're too much and you're all over the place, you're not going to feel comfortable trying to get affection from your partner. You're not going to feel comfortable doing that because you're going to be told so many times that it's so annoying. So your ego is going to be like, oh, you better not do that. Like, you're going to feel like a piece of crap. They're probably not even, it's almost like, why even ask for something when you're going to be shut down and rejected so much? You stop asking because you feel guilty for asking for anything during the luteal phase. You're like, I already know. You stop doing things. I'm not even going to try to sit next to them and hold them. I'm not even going to try to reach out and, hold their hand. I'm not going to try to do this because you've been shut down so many times as the partner that you're literally feeling like, you know what? There's no point. That's when you get to be really, really helpless, really, really hopeless. And you start to say to yourself, it's selfish to need help from my partner when they're already drowning. They're already stressed. They're already overwhelmed. I don't want to add to it. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Here's the thing. PMDD is cyclical. This is not like the cold or the flu. This is not even like pregnancy. PMDD lasts longer than pregnancy, which is 9 months, where if your partner is going through all of these things, you're like, all right, it's kind of like you can put an end game. You can put an end into it, like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, all right, after these 9 months, I'm going to be supportive. I'm going to put my needs on the back burner. We're going to get through this. We're going to have a baby at the end. It's going to be worth it. They're going to be so grateful. They're going to be so happy that I was there for them. If you don't see an end in sight and you know that every single month is just going on with this same cycle again and again and again, you're going to be like, what's the point? What is the point? Why am I doing this? They don't appreciate it. I'm not getting my needs met. And you start suppressing your needs because it's going to lead to resentment and burnout. You're going to get burnt out from being consistently criticized, consistently rejected. It's painful. When someone that you love, adore, cherish, want to be around, like, you can't help wanting to be around the person that you love. And so when they're in the luteal phase and they're like, oh, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to, I just want my time alone. When you're consistently rejected and criticized for the things that you are doing during the luteal phase, because your partner is distant, irritable, it's so hurtful. You'll start to say to yourself, I'm never enough, no matter what I do. Like, it almost forces you to want to go back to the drawing board. Like, if I was to do more, my partner would want me more. If I was to do more, my partner would love me more. But then when they consistently reject you, repeated rejection chips away at your confidence. I will say a lot of this happens physically, mentally, emotionally. If you go to reach out to your partner, you try to cuddle with them or you try to have, sex with them, make love to them because you're attracted to them, because you're attracted to them as the partner. Like, you're not going through PMDD. You still have the same attraction to them that you've always had. And you go to reach out and touch them and they tell you to get off of them. You're going to begin to think they're not attracted to me. How can you be laying in bed? Some of you in pajamas, some of you naked. How can you be laying in bed and not want to touch me? How can you see me walking around? You may start to get out the shower. Like, maybe you always do, or maybe you're doing it right now to get like attention. And you're going out of the shower and you're walking with your towel on, or you're walking without your towel on, like whatever the thing. And you walk right by your partner who's in their luteal phase and they don't even bat an eye. They don't even look at you and be like, ooh, Hey, come here. There's none of that. They could care less if you were walking around streak naked and they're just sitting there playing on their phone while you are in their presence, naked, half naked, laying on the bed, all these things. You're going to start to think like, I guess I'm unattractive. Maybe you'll start to go to the gym more. You start to think like, maybe I need to start working on myself. Maybe I need to have a better physique. Maybe I need a better body in order for them to be attracted to me. Or maybe it's a words thing. Maybe you're saying all these loving things and they're just saying it back to you very robotic. You're like, oh my gosh, I love you. I adore you. I just think that you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And they say back to you, I love you too. Or you text them something with all these emojis. I'm a big emoji person. Like the most common emojis that I have are like the heart eyes or the heart or the kissy face or the fire emojis. Like I'm a big emoji person. And I remember being in my luteal phase and sending emojis. And then, they were just bland. Like, like the little happy face. It's like, you can even tell from text messages where your energy is not being reciprocated. When your energy is not being reciprocated, it causes you as the partner to start looking internal and you start to question your identity. Like maybe I'm not as great of a partner as I thought I was. And what happens is you start to hide this. And I get it. You start to hide it from friends and family. It's embarrassing to be over the top in love with a person, completely devoted, completely loyal, all these things, talking on the phone with your friends about your partner. My partner's amazing and they're doing this. And then you're seeing the way that they're treating you. You don't tell this to your friends and family because they're going to be like, dude, why are you, or girl, why are you even with this person that is not appreciating you? That they could care less whether you come home or not. So you lie to your friends and family about the reality of your relationship to protect your partner. I've done it. I've been there. No shame here. No shame, no blame. Anything that I'm ever calling you out on, if you go back in my podcast, I think we're at 260 episodes. If you go back to episode 1, it is call your partner out in PMDD. And it is my way of revealing things to you in love. So I'm letting you know these things, but there's never a way of shaming it. It's a way I've been there and I've dealt with hundreds of private clients that have been there. So if I'm telling you this, please don't get offended, but it's a thing that you do. You start to lie because if they call in like, hey, how are you guys doing? Like you start reaching for things that are positive. Oh, we're doing this and this. And oh, she's doing this and blah, blah, blah. We're doing great. And then you're barely talking. And you're sitting in a corner or you're playing on your phone or you get into your video games or you're not even speaking or you're always arguing and fighting because you're really thinking to yourself, they wouldn't understand. They just tell me to leave my partner. They would just tell me to leave her. Honestly, the only advice I could get out my frustrations so you feel like there's never a safe place to really talk about it, which is why I strongly suggest that you join the PMDD Power Couples, the group counseling membership that I have available, because that's a place where every single week we meet and you really talk about the things that are going on in your PMDD relationship. But you can't talk to your friends and family about this. They will 100% tell you to leave, not because they're bad people or not because they don't even genuinely like or love your partner, because they think it's harmful for you. They're like, oh, you could do so much better. You don't even want to entertain that because you don't want to get into the realm of actually believing it, because that's your deepest, darkest fear, is that maybe you do think that you deserve somebody different. And if you feel like you hear your friends and family say it, it's going to be the one thing that's going to take you over the edge. So what happens, the next thing that happens is you're always preparing for the next crisis. Even during the follicular phase, you can't fully relax because you are preparing for the next battle of the luteal phase. You're bracing yourself for the emotional storm that you know is coming. You know you're going to be told that you're a piece of crap. You know you're going to be told that you're not a supportive PMDD partner. You know you're going to be told that you're a trigger. You know you're going to be told that you're doing the wrong thing. And you know it's coming. So you start to brace yourself. And so that your partner who's not suffering with PMDD is like all open and loving because they're free of PMDD symptoms. And you're literally saying, I can't even enjoy this moment, because you feel like this is when you've woken up and you're like, I see the pattern here. Like, especially for my type A's where they're tracking things. They're like, I'm not falling for that. Like, it's almost like you feel like it's a trap. You feel like it's a scam. Like, I can't believe the things that my partner is saying because I know in 2 weeks, they're going to say the exact opposite. So you're like, I can't even enjoy this moment. It won't last. So I'm not going to fall for it, because I will tell you that when you start to believe the positive things, which are the truth of how your partner really feels about you in the follicular phase, in the good days, when they start to act differently, it hurts 10 times worse because you're so high on that love, affection, attention, validation meter that when they drop you down and say, oh, you're not a supportive PMDD partner, or I wish you wouldn't do that, one level of criticism or blame, and it's going to take you down. And it's going to feel so much worse because you're going to be like, I thought we were past this. But I will say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I don't know why you would think that your luteal phase would be different if you haven't used the tools to get help for it. I will say that because a lot of times it's like, I used to be like that before I used the tools, before I developed the tools. Every single month I would pump myself up and be like, this month in PMDD, we got this. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I would make this whole plan. And then luteal phase would come and it really bulldozed through everything I thought. Like, I was just like, what the heck was I thinking? Like, it never worked. And so you start to blame yourself for their pain. You really start to blame yourself like, oh, if your partner keeps saying that you're the problem, you're the reason that they have PMDD, or you're the ones that cause their PMDD symptoms to be worse, you start to believe it. You start to say to yourself, oh my gosh, if I were stronger, if I were calmer, if I was more patient, then they wouldn't be suffering so much in PMDD. You carry the burden of premenstrual dysphoric disorder that was never meant for you to bear. You are not the cause of your partner having premenstrual dysphoric disorder. They had it before you. And guess what? If you break up, they're going to have it after you. It may fluctuate as far as what it looks like, but they will have it. The symptoms will still be there. So I don't want you to ever take on the burden of feeling like you're the one that causes their PMDD. Because you get to that point where you're just like, I don't know who I am outside of PMDD. This is the biggest place of feeling stuck. Every decision, every month, every mood, every routine revolves around the cycle. Everything needs to be strategically planned around the cycle. And you start to say, so who am I without this chaos? What did I even want before this? Why did I even choose to get in a relationship? What did I originally want? You forget that because you're losing yourself in the effort to hold it all together. You're literally like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I wanted. I don't know if I should stay. You love them, so you don't feel like you can go, but you also know that you're not happy and your needs aren't met, but you also know you can't really tell them that. That's just going to make everything worse. So you start holding stuff in. And then the next thing is you start playing therapist instead of partner. This is a big one. One of the modules in my course, My Partner Has PMDD, Now What, is not trying to fix your partner. You spend hours soothing and fixing and trying to calm all of the things that are going on in the luteal phase and in PMDD. And you get to this point where you're burnt out and you're like, I'm not even allowed to fall apart. There's no space for me. There's no space for what I'm going through because I'll be called weak. I'll be told I just need to suck it up. And so your role shifts from being an equal partner in the relationship to being an emotional caretaker. Again, this is in my dissertation where you get into that caregiver mindset and you get burnt out because you're always thinking about their needs, thinking about what you need to do, thinking about who you need to be instead of actually being who you actually are. You spend so much time trying to be the perfect PMDD partner that you forget who you actually are, who you resonate with, what is aligned with the core of who you are. And then you wake up one day and you're unrecognizable. You do not recognize this version of yourself. And then when you do finally get to this point where you see yourself for who you are, you don't like it. Maybe you're a person that had like a big personality, right? And you were very open and loving. But now all of a sudden, when they're in their luteal phase, you're too much. You're too loud. You're closing the doors of the cabinets too much. You're closing the car door too much. You're making too much noise because they have misophonia, which is a sensitivity to noise. You're being too affectionate. You're being too this. So you dull yourself down to a different version of yourself. And then one day you wake up and you look at yourself and you're like, I don't like this version of me. All of the things that I loved about me, all of the things that I thought that I was genuinely bringing to this relationship, they're gone. The whole version of me that I loved, that I really liked is gone. And so if you know that you're in this place where you're like, Dr. Rose, this is resonating with me, I've created a guide for partners specifically. I'm going to make it very practical for you. And it's going to go over the tools that what you need to do if you feel like you literally lost your identity. I'm going to put it in the show notes down here. You feel like you lost your identity in PMDD, you don't know who you are, you're unrecognizable, you want to go back to the core of who you are. You want to get to that place. And maybe you're the partner that has PMDD and you're listening to this and you're like, Dr. Rose, this is really resonating with me because this is how I feel. Like maybe you don't know the depths of it, but this is how I feel that my partner is feeling. And you want to get them this guide. I'm going to put the link in the show notes for you. And next week, we're going to be talking all about how PMDD causes you to lose your identity for the individual that is suffering with PMDD. So until then, if you need a private sessions, I put the link in the show notes. If you're on my email list, you have a full range of my calendar every single week as my private client and as someone that's on my email list. You get my calendar of available appointments. So if you're not on my email list, DM me or email me, rose@inlovewithpmdd.com, and I will be able to add you to my email list. You can see my open calendar and I'll be able to get you booked in for those appointments for the week. I'm doing it on a weekly basis to just let you know what I have available for the week so that I'm able to serve you. So if this is something that you know that you need right now, until next week, go to those resources in the show notes. We got this. I love you. I hope these tools help you and your PMDD partner. If you have not enrolled to get the course, My Partner Has PMDD, now what? Then you want to make sure that you are one of the first 12 individuals that gets the course for the month of December to get that complimentary private session with me. And then after that, it'll go back to regular price without the private sessions. But what this course is going to do for you is give your partner all of the tools that they need on how to be a supportive PMDD partner. What does that look like? I always say that your partner doesn't need more information. They need more implementation. They need more transformational tools. And this is the program for you. So I'm looking forward to you getting those tools in the program. And until next episode, we got this.